Well, it's fun to see a few faces. I hope that more faces come on. It's been a wonderful global group of registrants that wanted to be involved in this call and find out more about our online programs. And that just brings me into how important the relational field is to this embodiment work that we talk about. There's something that is so precious about the new technology these days, allowing us to actually see each other and see each other breathing and see each other moving and see each other in the qualities of light that we're in, on a stormy day or on a sunny day in California or in nighttime on the other side of the world. It really helps us orient and relax together when we get more information about what our bodies are up to and the scenes that we're in. So thank you for joining us in this way, using this technology. I just want to say a few words about Honeyroot and what some of the values are, the foundational principles, why we even got started with this organization. And again, my name is Dev. I come from both just a seeker self who knew that my body and the way that I occupied space and the way I felt in my body was going to be a really important part of my path. I also went in a lot of routes to become more of a professional in this realm. I am a therapist. I studied somatic psychology and have been influenced by all sorts of psycho-spiritual somatic educations that have drawn me to want to put together something with so many collaborators called Honeyroot. We're focused on women's embodiment, and the passion that I have and that so many of the collaborators have around women's embodiment is that things like women's empowerment has been around for quite some time. In fact, I was raised by a mother who was around in the 60s, and she has a lot to say about what was going on in terms of women and the efforts towards equality in the 60s. I excitedly came into this life a little later and got to look into what it is to be empowered woman from a different angle. And from my point of view and from the point of view of so many of the Honeyroot collaborators, is that we don't have to work hard to be empowered women when we are tapped into the power, the sensitivity, the innate wisdom that just is a woman's body. And so the good news is we got it already. There's nothing that we have to learn together per se. It's a remembering, and it's an opportunity to basically tap into our birth rates, the things that were left out of our nursery school and kindergarten educations that I for one would love to see put back in terms of the incredible resource that we are just by walking around as a woman. And we put together programming that is designed to take so many of the resources that we have in our community, and just to continue to share them and spread them out as far as we can get them. So Honeyroot just wants to get the resources that have been available to us out to women all over the world. It's really cool. This online program that we've put together is based on what we've been up to together in body anyway. So it's being sourced and fed by years of research and just paying attention to what works. And it's being sourced by women in generations before us, and all that they have gifted us, both just innately in our bodies and then also through their trial and errors. And it's so cool to put a program together very easily, meaning based on the fact that we've been up to this for a while, and we just wanted to find a platform that could get it out to all of you in an easier way. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll have time in the last 40 minutes or so just to be in conversation together to move into Q&A. But we want to say thank you for caring about this thing that is so close to our hearts. It feels so good to know that it's not just us here and hanging out in Northern California that are interested in such things, that this really is something that is awakening and being rediscovered all over the world. So to those of us that have been on journeys where we have disconnected a bit from the innate power, sensitivity, generosity that it is being a woman's body, so much kindness. We've done it. We've built our strategies for really, really good reasons. And we've gotten to a moment in time where many of us, unfortunately not all of us, at least in this fall, have gotten to an opportunity to be able to reclaim and come home. And we have a lot of how-tos for you. So that's what I'm proud to say is a big part of the Honey Root program, and is that it gets us out of the world of concept and the worlds that of course we want to be in together. And it really gives us practices on how to make it happen. So as much as we are a program that will meet an hour a week using this technology, it's a program that requires your practice at home. And the good news is you're doing it all the time anyway. So it's just placing your attention there and putting your attention there, into your body, into your sensational world, into the textures of emotion that perhaps a lot of your life has told you yes to these parts and no to these parts. We're just going to open up the whole system and get us moving so that we have more choice, which I hear from many of the people that surround my world, and also from inside of me. I know that's the ultimate privilege, is to live in choice. So I want to make that possible for you. I want to do it with my colleagues. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Dev. And I want to hone in on something that you just said about that it requires all of us from home doing this. And I'd love to speak to that concept. So again, for those of you who can't see my face, this is Darshana, and I have been something of Honey Root's traveling ambassador, because my life has included a lot of travel since connecting to Honey Root several years back. And what I want to speak to is what I've seen as I have been various places around the globe, various places around the United States, which is my country of origin, and spending a lot of time in community with others such as ourselves who are seeking for something. I use that term, which may resonate with you, might not, but it's this desire, this knowing that there's something more out there, and a curiosity of how do we access that for ourselves and in ourselves. And what has kept me motivated and excited as I've gone, and as I've often had to redefine what home is, has been realizing it's my body. And so when we speak of embodiment, what it is to truly inhabit ourselves, and we speak about somatics, which is talking more to our felt experiences, to getting into the level of sensation, there's so much wisdom here, and it's always with us. It's always accessible. So this is particularly potent when we're in a world and in a time where a lot of our conditioning has taught us to go outward externally and to relate out in these realms in connection to others. The potency and the preciousness of turning inward and learning to truly source wisdom from within ourselves. It's been phenomenal for me on a personal level, and it's been such a joy to help guide and facilitate others. And I'm really excited that Honey Root has grown to a place where we can bring this forward to women all around the globe, wherever your homes may be, whether you are rooted somewhere or traveling, to know that this could be a touchstone for you, a place that you come, a temple space that we're creating together, where you really get to go into those realms, to explore more deeply what it is that moves in you and as you, and to draw your power and your wisdom from there. And there's so much that's to come over the course of these 10 months. We've put a lot of care into the programming that's being offered, and have a stellar group of facilitators who have been connected to Honey Root in body in some way, shape, or form, and all are also out there in the world offering their gifts in various ways, and to bring that resource together in service to all of you is something that we all take as a tremendous honor. I know that I speak for us all, that we feel deeply honored to be able to bring this forward, and we hold it very reverently and tenderly, what it is to share from this space and to guide you in this co-creation. And so, Dev, maybe this would be a great moment to just talk a little bit about what the programming is going to include.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's quite a statement to say bringing empowered embodiment to women all over the world, and that's why not? Why not if we're given an opportunity? And on the one hand, I speak to this as a privileged woman that gets to sit and be at my laptop computer and using technologies that allow me to connect in with you. And so, just so you know, we're actually en route to keep making this more and more accessible. We're setting up our not-for-profit status so that we can be underwritten, because it really is about taking this mission of helping them feel at home in our bodies, meaning our birthright, the fact that we are connected to the earth and that she is an incredible resource that we can tap into. This is what we're up to. So in some ways, our programming is to set us all up so that we can be those women being the ambassadors, traveling the world, absolutely, with all of our interactions, being the ones who can stand for what's important in terms of women's heart, and stand for what's crucial in terms of women's bodies being safe, at ease, and empowered wherever they are, and in whatever relationship they're in, and whatever the moment calls for, we want to be available to meet it. And so our programming is set up to strengthen our relationships, to strengthen our role in our community, to allow us to be the wild warrior spirit when a moment needs it and calls for it, and for us to be the kind, compassionate one that has a capacity to make room for what's actually occurring, even if it's outside of what we want to have happen. All of this programming is lined up for that, to build our capacity to be the fullest woman that we can be. So the program is set up, and it's called Embodiment, Somatics, and the Feminine Soul. And these are words that are near and dear to my heart. Just to give you a sense, a moment of what we're talking about here. Embodiment being more the, almost the philosophical, spiritual fact of our form. And that if a lot of our educational programs are set up in what we're doing in our thinking and what we're doing with our mind, that is absolutely a part of our embodiment. But what we so often feel is being left out is what is happening in our form, what is happening in the shapes, what is happening in our breath, what is happening in the way that we feel choiceful in our movement, in the way that we feel restricted. So embodiment is, how can we look at the fact that we are walking around as women's bodies and live the fullest life through our form as possible. Somatics being the field of study that has been set up for the felt sense of what it is to be a body. It's something that's going on for us all the time, but there's a field of study that has set up and helped us orient to, wow, there really are different experiences people are having of what it is to occupy themselves. Some people have more ease there. Some people have more challenge there. And there's a whole field and a whole body of work that is set up to bring more relaxation and more access to aliveness into our felt experience. So somatics is more the study of what it is to be embodied. And then the feminine soul, I'm sure we all have our own ways of speaking about that, but the feminine soul being something that, of course, is harder to touch with our hand, and yet something that so many of us agree is been left out of our cultural stories for quite some time, and yet is making its way back in. And the feminine soul being the connecting force, the force that is that lives for connection to what's around us, connection to one another. The feminine soul being the invisible forces that are absolutely guiding our experience, and yet not historically not being spoken to as much as our concrete world. So the magic, the mystery, and turning towards it for information and guidance is a big part of what we want to make more room for through this course.
Yeah.
And the course itself is set up from the ground up. So I'll just read the course's root: building a felt sense of safety, security, and belonging. We want to work from the ground up so that we can actually, just like a baby does, it comes down, it's close to the ground, and through time, we stack ourselves up to being an upright human. So we're paying attention to nature here as we follow this path. Safety, security, and belonging. Creation, going into our womb, unwinding the stories in our womb. Working with our boundary. Some of us have loose boundaries. We want to know how to establish more. Some of us are very, very tight. We want to know how to open up and connect more. This will be a 5 weeks focused on our sense of boundary. Next, we move into heart and work with the 7 flavors of love. There's qualities of connection that it's wonderful to work with the different qualities, because our relationships are using these different qualities of love all the time. And it can be so illuminating to see what are our home ones, what are the qualities of love we want to grow, where are we finding these in others in our partnerships. Then we move into our voice, journey into your inner landscape, coming into, of course, the importance of our voice being sourced from our body. Not just from our thoughts, not just from our tinkering mind, but how can we get our voice coming all the way through so that it feels like authentically ours? Direct perception, inhabiting your subtle core. That perception itself is being done through all of our senses. And the more that we come inside, the greater the experience of being able to perceive in all of these realms that we read about, or maybe that we've known we have access to from the time we were young, but we never had someone guiding us saying, yes, yes, of course, use it this way. And then crown, being able to have the capacity to stand in the paradox of life, the fact that things don't feel good to us all the time, and yet here we are in this existence. So it really does take a lot of building from the ground up to build capacity to really be with all that's occurring. And I will be in the practice with you, my continued practice of building capacity to be with life as it is, including all of our facilitators that'll be in this practice with you. Simultaneously during this course, we have additional course offerings, electives that can be taken on their own or in conjunction with this course. We put them on a different day of the week so that if you want to fill out the whole program and do it all, you absolutely can. One of them is a course on menopause, a women's sacred path to wisdom, power, and wholeness. So much of the menopausal journey has been put into the terms that the sacred menstrual journey has as well, which is that it's in the way, or that it's a problem, or that it creates physical challenges that we just have to deal with. And we have a course that is dedicated to reframing that and really showing the sacred power of that transition of menopause. Sex and our connection to the sacred, Darshana is available if we want to ask more questions about that. But so much of women's sexuality being something that has been cut off from our spiritual nature. And yet in truth, these things are just so interwoven. I mean, if nothing else, just looking at the way the body works and the way that more creation, more bodies come to be, this is the sacred act, and coming into a sense of in loveness with the fact that is our birthright to be with sex in that way is something that you'll be able to tap into. We'll work with intuition, a path to power. If only we knew the incredible power that following our intuition is in life. So we'll get support in really knowing how to listen in and follow that as a guidance system through life, and just seeing the magic that can bring. Teens and sex, again, a very, very necessary and so often written out of our curriculum course that is dedicated to how to actually make room for the fact, again, the fact that that teens are waking up in their sexual nature. And it's really nice to have some counsel and some guidance on how to be with them in a way that just keeps helping it open, and also, of course, helps them find a sense of safety and security as it occurs. And then, of course, that is near and dear to my heart, the shadows of sisterhood. And I say near and dear to my heart because I really do feel that once we are embodied woman, that the next step is how do I keep being this and being an ambassador for women, no matter how they're being in front of me, to keep us rising together, connected to the ground, connected to our heart. And much of that means making room for the fact that sometimes our injury and our history has created situations where our relationships with women aren't the place where we consider ourselves being supported or feeling allyship. And so we really get in there and address what's in our way and what can we do about it, using the tools of embodiment and somatics to make room for what's occurring. So, a lot of words, but just so exciting to be able to say that all together and to feel what a big body of work we have going on. So.
Thank you, Dev. It was great to just have that perspective of the arc of the journey that we're preparing to take, and how comprehensive it is. And I hope that all of you listening really feel the care that has gone into considering the elements that we know from our own experience are most essential to tap into. And we very much want you to feel well held, and that you are having a holistic journey, that we are embracing the whole of you, and that there's a space for that. And so whether you choose to focus in on particular modules that are most alive, or go on the entire ride with us, we want you to be well served. And that's truly our intention. And so in that vein, we would love to use the remaining half of this call as a space for questions, comments, discussion to arise for those who are live with us. We would absolutely love to hear from you. So please introduce yourself, let us know your name and where you're from. And we do have a few of our facilitators on the line as well. So if it's a question about a particular module, we're happy to speak to that. Bring your voices into the space. We'd really love to hear you.
Great. I'm Carrie, and I'm going to be facilitating the magic and mystery of menopause. So if there's any questions around that, I'm here, and very excited about really shifting the paradigm and working with that and making that a place of deep empowerment as you move into your wise woman journey. So anyway, that's me.
And Carrie, is the module that you're offering, is that specifically for women who are already in menopause, or can a woman at any stage of her life join in and feel that she'll get something from that? How are we orienting?
It mostly has been for people who are either in perimenopause or in their menopause journey, but it would also, for women who are coming towards that and maybe want to shift. We've got somebody up there.
I muted it.
Cool. Maybe noticing that they're swimming in a whole lot of waters of the culture that may giving them a view of a real challenge, or this is going to be hard, or I'm going downhill from here. If they want some resources as they begin to move into that journey, then they would absolutely be welcome for that as well.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I found myself amongst the moving into eldership course. And it was incredibly, incredibly beneficial, though I am not claiming that seat in a physical way. The timeless part of me was listening and contributing, knowing that that's the journey I'm heading into. And so just a word for how good it felt to be someone of a different age bracket in that course. So thanks for that what has happened in the past, but also that open invitation. Thanks, Carrie.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, this is Erin. I'm sorry there's a loud lawnmower outside. I hope you're not distracted by that. I just want to open up to you and say that I'm doing the work with the teens around teens and sex. And I know one of the questions people ask is, do you have to be a mother of a teen to be in this course? And the answer is definitely not, because I think it's really, oh, can you hear that? Sorry. It's really important to make our voices loud and to know what the teens are going through now. That's different than what we went through. Some of it's the same, and a lot of it is different. And I think mothers alone can't do the work by themselves. It takes all of us. I see Allison shaking her head as a stepmama and as a kind of all right, and as an auntie and as a friend. And it's really important that all of us help pave the way for the younger ones to see other ways that is different than what's being offered to them through social media. And it's not all bad, by the way, but and a lot of it's very distorted, and it's really, really confusing for teens now. I think the more that we step up as women and understand, that's a really important piece, understand what they're going through, not make it wrong or bad or fearful, but we just teach about pleasure. Really, 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 really important. I could say a lot more about this, but just wanted to open up that either for discussion and or just letting you all know that that course is for everyone. And I'm going to put mute on now.
Thank you, Erin. That I really appreciate you chiming in with that piece. And as the one who's holding the offering around sex and connection to the sacred for the rest, we all have something to learn about our pleasure. and it's important, I would imagine Erin would agree, that in order to really be of service to the younger generations, we have a responsibility to educate ourselves and be on our own journeys. And so that's something I love about the way we have crafted this curriculum. We're simultaneously enriching our own selves so that we have more to offer out as a resource in support of our communities. And that is a beautiful thing to me. That's what this sisterhood is all about, that none of us are doing this for selfish aims necessarily. Like we are all here connected to one another and to something greater and bigger. And that excites me a lot to feel that in the space.
Hi there, this is Stephanie Ukes. I'm chiming in here. I will be offering the course around boundaries and welcoming the wisdom of the animal body. And actually what I wanted to comment about before saying anything about the course that I'll be facilitating is really what I'm getting is this rich opportunity as woman to take courses that might be applicable, say if I'm a mother of a teenage daughter, but also an opportunity to reframe or almost reparent my own young teenage self who may need to actually hear still some permission for my young one that still lives inside this 42-year-old body about permission for my own sexual well-being, what it's like to be empowered or have an adult woman educate me about boundaries. So there's this beautiful transmission that I think is possible for us to participate in Erin's course, and then feeling that almost sandwiching between Erin's piece and Carrie's offering of where I'm going. Here's this full spectrum of my femininity that these women who are deeply in their own embodiment practices and with deep care are showing us what is possible. And for me, that feels really alive and rich. And I'm feeling on a new level of gratitude for what's been crafted here and the conversations that we get to have as a community of women on this journey. So I just feel a new kind of shot of excitement as I hear Erin, you share, and Carrie, you share about your offerings. And then Darshana, your continued passion for giving us permission for pleasure in our bodies. Thank you for the way you hold that and you bring your full self to that conversation.
Stephanie, I love what you said. And it is true. It's like, to me, everything that's done in Honey Root is just, it's all woven together, and it's just a continual weaving dance. And part of what I do in mine, which will connect also with Carrie's and Darshana's, is Yoni Talk. A little section will be called Yoni Talk, Conversations Your Mother Never Had With You, which is exactly what you're speaking of, Steph. It's like that whole thing of what teens bring up in us, the irritation or the fear or the whatever, is certainly what's unresolved in their own. It's not been tapped into in our own healing as teens ourselves, where we were shamed, more than likely, most people of our generation, and like that. So love that you said that, and that's a big piece of the work for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like relatedly, this is a place where the work that I'm passionate about and most interested in is how I bring my depth of presence in collaboration with my animal body, with the part of my my grounded, clear, impulsive body. That I work a lot with horses who have a clear instinctual impulse about when it's time to move away and when it's safe to move close and have deep regulated connectivity with other beings. And a big part of my personal journey from a young teenage girl, being raised in a Western culture that had told me from a very early age to override my instinctual body, or not really even know how to interpret the subtle information and not so subtle information that was coming into my body, but almost to override it and go up into my intellectual mind as the primary place of orientation. So horses have been a grand teacher for me of how to sink back into and reclaim my instinctual body. And now I'm in this stage of my evolution. I'm in the deep integration process of how do I bring this capacity of developing deep presence that comes through other practices, i.e. a meditation, a mindfulness practice, other embodiment practices. How do I bring deep presence and awareness into collaboration with my instinctual body, that they do not live separately? Through my mindfulness practice, I'm not going up and out and away from my body, but in fact, I'm actually going deeper in and having choice around how I'm responding to the world around me. And I feel like that teaching also is of service to what you're exploring with teens, Erin, which is giving permission for women and young women to trust their bodies, that they actually know exactly when it is time to move close and when it's time to pull away, and that can shift on a dime, and that they have full permission in a blink of an eye or in the next breath to say, oh, that was a yes and now it's a no. And to feel totally settled in that, the power of choice. So I love the way those two programs really dance together.
Yeah, beautifully articulated. And so I'd like to once again extend the invitation to hear from the voices of some of the others on the line who perhaps are intrigued in the programming. I'm curious just to know how the dialogue so far has landed for you, if this is sparking any particular curiosity, if it's triggering, inspiring, what's moving for those of you who are out there listening right now?
I'm feeling deep gratitude for what has been created, and so called in my body to receive this and participate fully. Feel it's deep honoring. And I do feel the reverence in the creation and in the birthing of this through all of you.
Thank you so much for that reflection. And would you be willing to share your name and let us know where you are in the world at this moment?
This is Mariposa, and I am in Encinitas, California.
Mariposa, beautiful butterfly. Thank you so much for bringing your voice and your heart into the space. It feels really good to feel you.
In my neck of the woods, Mariposa.
Oh.
Encinitas is wonderful.
Beautiful.
My name is Gabrielle, and I'm calling from Boulder, newly relocated to Boulder. And in terms of practical questions, I am just curious what the forum will look like. So I have heard a little bit about what the topics will be. Just curious how often the meeting times are, if that's an online forum, if it's just written, instruction, questions to ponder. Just wondering how much of it is exchange and how much of it is just self-reflection and just what the pace looks like.
Basically, the structure is that we've put together a programming that is over the course of 10 months. We've put together a 10-month program that we've set up that we consider our core curriculum. Not necessarily more important, but literally kind of like the spine that the branches can hold, that can fly off of. Each of the courses themselves are 5 weeks. They are courses that you can be doing your own work over the course of the week. And then we meet just like this in a Zoom call for 1.5 hours once a week. And the way we've set it up is that each segment gets a week break between each. So it's like a 5-week course, 1 week off, 5-week course, 1 week off. We do set up what we've been calling a soul sister. So you have one person that you can check in with throughout the week in a more intimate way. Typically people exchange phone numbers and shoot text messages and things like that just to talk about progress. But with the setup in mind, we really have let people engage as much as they want to engage. So we ask that you show up to the 1.5-hour call just to keep the community flow going. If for some reason you can't be there 1 week, you have your kids, they need you, we send you the recording. So we record all the sessions. They're privately recorded. So the only people that will be watching them are people that have the access to that course. And then we send you out an email, and it's got a couple of journal prompts if you want to be journaling about your progress. And it also has somatically oriented exercises. So either that'll come in the form of a video, something where if I'm offering the course that I would actually set up a camera and do a 2-minute practice and bring it to you, or something that we can type out and write out, something really clear that you can find a good place in your home or out in nature and do the practices. And then we come back together and we talk about how it has gone for us, what we've bumped into, any delights that we've found that perhaps the facilitators wouldn't know, but you've discovered and you want to feed the field with. So very simple, showing up to a call 1.5 hours each week, and then kind of the rest is up to you, how fully you want to embrace it.
Yeah.
Is that clear? Any other questions?
I'd like to just make a little addition to that, which is that you use the word forum, and that lands in me as I'm so habituated to the world of online forums. And you do have that as well, where there is a space that will be through Facebook where private groups are created for ongoing nurturing. And what's been really sweet to see is we offered a couple of online programs earlier this year that were held more individual than the arc of this full program. And there's still activity happening in those forums, even though those courses have long since ended. So that's another way that you can engage as much as you choose, and that it can be an enduring touchstone even beyond the 5 weeks of a module or the 10 months of the course. We're very fiercely passionate about community in the Honeyroot world, and we want you to have access to your community through these different streams. So Elle, just wanted to give a little more to your question, that there's that aspect of it in addition to the live calls and the self-practice, and perhaps having an accountability partner in the form of a soul sister. You've also got the online forum.
Thanks. something I realized that came up for us in our online courses over the past year is that there was always an invitation in the beginning of the sessions whenever we would meet in the Zoom calls to get into the orientation where we can both be alive in the space that surrounds us and in our bodies, and also be engaged with the faces and the content of the screen. So even now I'm inside of my practice and inviting you all into it, whether you're on the phone or on the Zoom call on the screen with us, just seeing where you are in terms of your back body and your relationship to gravity. And I speak to that because if you're someone like me, even before I found myself saying yes to setting up online courses, considering this as an online, an embodiment organization, I really had some grappling to do with how can we keep serving the body and embodied presence, and using something like a technology that has the possibility of drawing us out of that experience. And so that in itself is this beautiful kind of secondary practice that came along with these courses, is that every now and again that myself or whoever was facilitating or even a member of the group would remind us that we can rest back and feel our back body, or pause together. You know, I love with my mother, for example, that there are times that we're engaged in a phone conversation where we'll just have a couple minutes of not saying anything to each other. It doesn't mean it's time to get off the phone. It just means that we're actually pausing and resting together. Such a rare thing when it comes to phone conversations and online contact. So using it as an opportunity to actually do more of that being state together, even as we have the visual field and the voices we're sharing. It's a secondary great thing that came out of these courses, is this opportunity to be with the computer in a different way. Truly.
Yeah.
Constant practice.
That so excites me, Dev, that invitation. Here we are in this age of technology where there's a potential for great expansion and, on one level, deeper interconnectedness, truly a global community. And how do we do that and stay in our bodies and stay connected with nature and the rhythms of nature, stay sensitized in our bodies so that we can be impacted by the world around us and impact the world around us from a deep place. And so I love this. Here we are. This is the bridge right here, or this is one of the many bridges, hopefully, that each one of us will be forging. Just how do I stay feeling myself in a full sensory experience, desiring intimacy and connection with other human beings in an age of technology where our current interface is through these quite extraordinary machines. So I love this. This is right where the rubber meets the road for me. So I so love that you brought that to our full awareness, Dev. That's what we're doing.
But it's just that we have this potential to bring each other into our rhythms. Our animal bodies are designed to do exactly that. And even with a screen between us and goodness knows how many miles, there is a web of connectivity here. And we are pulsing together, buzzing together, vibrating, swirling. And it's so awesome to not just see it on the screen, but I feel it. I feel it in my bones right now. I feel it in my tissues. And that is part of what I'm really excited to experience more of, and to expand all of our capacities for attuning, even through these mediums. You know, it's the world we live in. So let's figure out a way to make it work for us. Feels like that's what we're up to.
Yeah, there's another added benefit. I remember some people sharing about, I'm thinking specifically of Befriending Your Fire course. And that is that this piece that you're speaking to of entrainment, or even like transmission of different movements through our bodies or different energies through our bodies, that what was so cool is that for some that there's an actual opportunity to be in the sweetness of the privacy of our own home, like that you get this much of me right now, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I can show you more of me, I can give you more of me, but in some ways it's actually a sweet way to be kind to ourselves and say, oh, as I'm coming into these bigger energies, for example, in Befriending Your Fire course, when I growl, I'm growling at a screen, or I'm receiving a growl from someone else, but it's not exactly in my face yet, you know? So it's this sweet way that we can get intimate and yet still have a little bit of our privacy around us if we find ourselves in our home or in a park environment that we want to place ourselves in. So again, a little bit of a reframe of, oh gosh, we can't be together in body, but there are all these side benefits that I wouldn't have known about ahead of time until I was there. And the transmission, oh my gosh, look what that person can do in their body, or look at that sound that person can generate through their body. We're actually receiving it. And that is so incredible. I mean, that's why I want to get more people from around the world involved, is that there's cultural experiences of expression through a woman's body that I don't get to be with as much as the ones that are just sharing the same space as me all the time. There are ways that I know I can expand my experience if a woman from South America is bringing her voice through in a particular way, or movements through her body in a particular way that I don't get to be around so much. So just speaking to what you spoke about, Darshana, and underscoring that it actually did happen, that there was transmission happening in our other courses that I wouldn't have expected ahead of time. It was really, really cool.
Yeah. Thank you. And so as we prepare to wind down this beautiful sharing, I can't tell you how excited I was for this hour of the day, and I feel so deeply nourished by it. I hope and I trust that others are having a similar experience. We just want to make sure that you know we launch a week from today. August 17th is the opening session with Root that Dev will be leading. And registration is open. You can access that through honeyroot.org. And if you go to online courses in our top menu, you will very easily find your way to all the details about the various course options and the link to registration. Again, you are at choice here. So if you want to go full tilt for the whole journey, we have made that as attractive an option as possible. And you effectively get a free course by choosing that. You can choose a curriculum of your own made up of core courses and electives. As Dev mentioned earlier, none of those is more important than the other. It's simply that we have set a context for that root to crown journey, and then also selected some other areas that we feel are deeply important for a comprehensive and holistic experience of embodiment, somatics, and the feminine soul. And that's what we're up to. And so we really encourage you to visit our website, to get engaged on the Facebook page. We've got such an active, vibrant community there, about 27,000 or so throughout the globe, which just astounds me to see how we keep growing and expanding our reach and reach to us, reach toward us. I'm here, Dev is here, the other facilitators, Allison, who's been a huge asset to this program as well. We genuinely love getting to engage with you directly, and we welcome you to reach our way with any questions you might have, and to reach toward the women in your world so that they're aware of this opportunity to build community and deepen. So on that note, deep, deep thanks, gratitude, acknowledgement, appreciation for all of you and for the ways that you are showing up in the world as your feminine self. And we look forward to being with you. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Mwah.
For joining us.
Be well.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Be
Bye
well.
for now.